Hello everybody, hope you guys are enjoying your day. Today we're going to be looking at your severe weather risk, which is going to be impacting parts of the central and eastern United States from the 27th, which would be today, all the way until Wednesday, the 29th of April. And we are going to actually see quite a few tornadoes most likely, and quite a bit of hail, and some large hail with that as well. Now let's start with your National Weather Service page, because we have a lot to cover today. We have very, very warm temperatures in the southwestern United States, where your temperatures are going to top out between 95 and 105 degrees over parts of Southern California, Southern Nevada, and the western and southern parts of Arizona. In those kind of maroon colors, the darker pinks and purples, that's where you're looking at your excessive heat warning, and then an excessive heat watch, which is a slightly lower temperature, still going to be very warm over parts of southern Arizona, and that might even be upgraded to an excessive heat warning. You've been seeing this heat wave, you could call it, over parts of the southwestern United States for the past couple of days, and I think it is going to linger for a day or two more. Now, we also have completely the opposite here in northern New Hampshire, northern Maine. We have some winter weather advisories from that system that moved through yesterday, bringing a little bit of snowfall, and you still do have a little bit of lingering snowfall throughout that area. And besides that, not a lot left of watches and warnings throughout the country, and you might actually see potentially a severe thunderstorm watch or a tornado watch go through. If it was a tornado watch, it would most likely be northwestern Illinois, eastern Iowa. If you're going to see that severe thunderstorm watch, it's most likely going to be for eastern Oklahoma, northeast Texas, maybe a little bit of Louisiana, and possibly for Arkansas, Missouri there, where you're actually going to get most likely the bulk of the severe weather. Now, here's your Storm Prediction Center page for day 2. We do have a little bit of severe weather today for southwestern Texas, and that's technically still part of this one main outbreak, and this is going to be moving eastward, and you're going to see a developing low pressure system that's going to allow for some very, very strong severe weather. We have a slight risk in the yellow, which is moving all the way from Texas and Arkansas straight northward all the way into Illinois and Iowa, because you are going to have some supercells develop, which are going to allow some tornadoes to potentially develop throughout that region, and then an enhanced risk over parts of Oklahoma, Arkansas, Texas, and Louisiana there. Now, here's your tornado risk, and we have a 2% chance in the greater green region, and then we have a 5% chance in northwestern Illinois, eastern Iowa, and a little bit of northeastern Missouri there in that brown, a 5% chance, which is still a fairly decent chance of seeing some tornadoes throughout that region. Your wind outlook for damaging winds: 5% chance in the brown, 15% chance in the yellow, and a 30% chance in that red, with a hatched region there, which is indicating a 10% or greater probability of seeing wind gusts of 65 knots or greater within that region. And we're going to actually go a little bit more in depth on why that's going to happen later on in today's video. And then your hail outlook pretty much looks the same, except for that 30% region is a little bit smaller in northeastern Oklahoma, southeastern Kansas, and then you have that hatched region there where you have that probability of seeing 2-inch diameter hail or greater there, and that's definitely going to be a large threat for areas through Oklahoma, Kansas, and even a little bit of Texas there. Now, here's your Storm Prediction Center page for day 3, and they don't have the individual risks for tornadoes, hail, wind. They only have one probabilistic forecast here. We only have a marginal risk in place for the deep south there. For this would be for Wednesday the 29th. But as we continue here, you see we have a 5% chance of severe weather, and this will most likely get upgraded potentially to a slight risk. It doesn't look to be too significant throughout the southeast. Only really, I think, Mississippi and potentially western Alabama are really going to get impacted with a lot of severe weather, you could say, mainly because you're going to see from your day 2 outlook, some of that severe weather is going to translate eastward from your day 2 outlook. Now, let's start looking at your modeling, and we're going to look at your simulated radar for 3 different regions, and then we're going to go into different parameters there, showing you your CAPE values, your dew points, and all of that. So you have some lead showers, and that might actually eat up a little bit of the energy. So your thunderstorms over Arkansas, Louisiana, and eastern Texas might not be as strong because of these lead thunderstorms and just rain showers that are kind of eating up the energy that you have in the atmosphere. But then as we get to about Tuesday, and this would be for tomorrow morning, and this would actually right around tomorrow noontime. You're seeing those thunderstorms start to pop up in the afternoon hours, and then as we continue this, you start to see a line develop where you have some scattered supercells on the outward flanks of them, and then you have a really strong squall line that's developing through southeastern Oklahoma, and then that really moves through. You're starting to see even some pinks and purples start to move through. That's indicating some very heavy rain and most likely some hail indicated within there. As you see those kind of little circles of some very intense precipitation, that indicates some hail potentially there. And then as we continue, you see that line of thunderstorms moving all the way through Arkansas, Texas, and Louisiana, and then it starts to kind of die off, and your thunderstorms aren't as strong, but still potentially a tornado or two, and probably a little bit of hail out of this, and then it starts to move further to the Gulf Coast. Now, I want to also focus on areas through Illinois, Iowa, and Missouri here. So we have some of those showers ahead of this, and then you really start to see this bulk area of some really strong severe weather through Iowa, and this is going to be moving eastward, and it's going to be moving through parts of Illinois. Now, this frontal system, this isn't too powerful, and this is actually going to eat up parts of some energy from the atmosphere, so you're not going to have as much energy with this Iowa, Illinois area seeing some severe weather, but it's what you really want to focus on here is actually this right here. Your supercells developing. These little isolated areas of thunderstorms are going to be moving eastward, and this is where you could actually get some rotation, and that's where you could actually see some severe weather develop along that line. Now, this would be by Tuesday nighttime, and you're seeing some of those supercells move through western Illinois. It already moved through eastern Iowa, and then northeastern Missouri may be getting clipped by a couple of those thunderstorms there, and then it kind of moves out to the east, and you're not seeing too much in the way of severe weather. Probably just some heavy downpours throughout some areas further to the east. Now, let's start looking at your southeastern view of this, where it's going to kind of die down a little bit. It's not going to be as strong. Now, this is going to be by Wednesday morning. You see that very strong line of thunderstorms move through, and it's going to start to die down as you make your way further to the east, but you still do see a little bit of supercell activity, which could in turn lead to a slight risk of severe weather potentially through northern Alabama, northern Georgia. It's not going to be as strong as what we're going to see tomorrow, but it is going to be fairly strong still. You see a couple squall lines developing, and that's the end of the model run, so the model doesn't go far enough out to show the rest of this, but we do see a little bit of squall line activity, which could lead to some hail and some heavy and some very strong winds. Now, why are we seeing these very, very heavy winds, and why are we seeing this hail? Now, I want to show you this. This is your winds in the higher elevations in the atmosphere. Now, this is going to be your bottommost layer here, and you're seeing your winds are coming out of the southwest through Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri, and Nebraska. It's moving from the southwest, and it's moving northward from there. Now, let's look slightly higher in the atmosphere. This is only a couple thousand feet higher up, and you're seeing a complete change in the direction. Now your winds are coming out of the northwest, and when you see this, you really want to look for some hail, and that's why the Storm Prediction Center is actually putting out some a threat for hail, a 30% chance there for parts of Oklahoma and even through Texas. So that's why you see that hail threat through there, because once you get kind of that spinning in the atmosphere, that allows some hail to really develop throughout the atmosphere, and then of course it makes its way down to the bottom layers of the atmosphere. Let's go a little bit higher up, and you see pretty much the same as that middle layer of the atmosphere. It's still coming out of the northwest, but still something that's definitely very, very notable, and that's why you're seeing those very heavy winds or those very strong winds. Now, something to look at. Look at your wind speeds just a little bit above our heads. They're very, very strong. They're gusting to about 40 to about 50 and even 60 miles per hour. And then as you get that squall line to develop, you could have gusts to about 60 to 80 miles per hour potentially. So that's something I wanted to point out, and that's why you're seeing your really, really strong winds, and then also your very large hail. Now, this is also being fueled by some of your dew points, and this is kind of showing you how much moisture you have in the atmosphere. And usually you want to get into these yellow shades and these orange shades where that's above 60. Anywhere above 60 or even the upper 50s in terms of dew points, that's where it's conducive for some severe weather. And the higher your dew points are, the more conducive you would be for some severe weather. So as we continue here, you start to see 70s for Texas, but something that's really, really interesting is look at where those 60 dew points kind of trail off. You're seeing even upper 50s through Ohio, Indiana, into southern Michigan, southern Wisconsin, but then you get that 60s through western Illinois and southeastern Iowa, and then all the way through pretty much the entire state of Missouri, some of Kansas, 70s for the eastern half of Oklahoma and Texas, the western half of Louisiana, and some 70s, 60s further to the east, Arkansas in the 60s. So you are going to have some very, very moist environments for these thunderstorms to really fuel up. Now, also something that's going to be very, very conducive for some severe weather is look at these CAPE values, convective available potential energy, and this is showing you how much energy you have in the atmosphere. Look at all of this through eastern Texas, pretty much the entire eastern two-thirds of Texas engulfed in over 4,000 CAPE values. So that's very, very high, and that's a very, very large, expansive region. And you see those 1,000 CAPEs where that would also be pretty much your baseline for some severe weather. That's moving all the way through into northwestern Illinois, eastern Iowa, with this low pressure system that's kind of tied up through this area. It's an upper level low pressure system. You have an occluded front through here, and then you have your strong cold front moving further to the south, and you have your warm front somewhere right around there. And anywhere south of that warm front is where you're really going to have a good chance of seeing some pretty good severe weather, and that's why you're seeing that severe weather really pop up throughout that region. CAPE values to the north only of about 1,000, so nothing that's going to be crazy severe until you get to about Illinois and Iowa, or maybe you see a tornado or two. But then also for Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, and then moving this further to the east, you're going to see some more severe weather. You're going to see hail, potentially some tornadoes, and also damaging winds out of this. Now, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Please consider liking the video, subscribing, and turning on notifications so you never miss this video when I do upload. Anyways, guys, that was Eli Vlog. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.